but the wall is the most fucked up, like the most ridiculous part. What
What
kind
is
of
that?
volcano? How could a volcano ever create that? And you look
Couldn't.
in. There's one guy that does drone footage, and you look in, and it's clearly like constructed. Like it's clear you can't
It
see
is.
there,
So
but
it is a wall. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a wall, doesn't it?
I mean, I haven't gotten next to it, but it's so much looks like a wall that it's like ridiculous. But yeah, this my wife came across this on some website, and I was just like, "What? I've never seen that." And so they call it. I'll zoom in, obviously, but they call it ship rock because
Mm.
they say it looks like a ship coming out of the water. But I connected it with something from this old book of medieval geography, and I don't know if it really connects. I don't know if I don't have the Native American story here, but we'll go down. This is actually stuff in the area. This is in the area like it. This is in the area like it. This is also in the area. They're all, that's called, oh yeah, Barber Peak. Which one is Cathedral? One was called Cathedral Peak, a rock cathedral. Pretty interesting, nice name for that. And
Mm.
then, but this is the place. This is what it looks like. So it's, look at this thing. But their explanation for this is, you guessed it, a volcano. This is an old volcano
What?
that you're just seeing like the pipe, the lava pipe come up from it or something. That's their every single video you see on this. They're like volcanic
What?
activity. This is a volcano,
The
but
lava
you have
like
this.
spurted up and then like dried really quickly. It got really cold, so it stayed up in the air or something. I mean,
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. But you keep looking at it,
what
and
is
and
that?
it's a Navajo site. So the Navajo were frequented here. So they have a story where that they were somehow taken here at one point by a giant bird, like a giant bird supposedly picked them up and dropped them off onto the top of this, where they lived for a substantial amount of time on the top of whatever this was, and they had the farms in stuff at the bottom, so they would climb down to do like the crops, but that this was something that housed people all at the top. And they said inevitably a lightning strike struck it, and that's what caused its destruction. And then there were still people stranded on the top, as apparently how the story goes. So that got me thinking. For some reason, and I think this ends up happening more often than not, is the synchronicity of just kind of going with things. I've got a desktop of like 1,000 freaking, so many freaking things, and so many folders of like potential video ideas. And the one that I happened to click on today was I was like, huh, I was drawn to this book on medieval geography, which features this map. I forget what it's called. I'll put it up in a video later, but it's this old map that has all this kind of crazy stuff on it. You guys may have seen it before. It's like super old and like just ridiculous as people have dived into it. But it's got all this text about different griffins and different giant birds, like picking people up and like doing things with different people and taking them places, and
You
like kind
see
of
that
working
on
hand
the
in hand
maps
with
too,
them.
don't
Again,
you?
the
With the big
what?
bird on the old maps, quite often there's big birds holding people and or elephants and animals and people and all these things, right?
And it has to be. I think it's definitely very real. And I was also even thinking that, even if like, you got to put yourself in the perspective of the Native Americans too. If they've never
Oh,
seen anything that resembles a plane or an aircraft,
exactly.
then
Yeah. What's the bird? Yeah.
what is a bird? Yeah, that's all that, I mean, that all the only thing that they know that flies is a bird. So
Mm.
how could you really think anything else? A plane, an airship could be a bird, and they know that they went on it, and etc. And then they have, this is pretty cool. I don't know if that's real or not, but then they the whole lightning part I also find very interesting, because I mean, you get closer to it, look at the rubble at the bottom. It's the same thing. It also has that tree, like
Yeah, it
tree
does have
stump
that tree
feel.
look.
But the wall is the most fucked up, like the most ridiculous part. What
What
kind
is
of
that?
volcano? How could a volcano ever create that? And you look
Couldn't.
in. There's one guy that does drone footage, and you look in, and it's clearly like constructed. Like it's clear you can't
It
see
is.
there,
So
but
it is a wall. Yeah. I mean, it looks like a wall, doesn't it?
I mean, I haven't gotten next to it, but it's so much looks like a wall that it's like ridiculous. I mean, my curiosity to just dig right down and deep in there, like just take a little chunk out and see what you see. Like
Mm.
that's what the future of our archaeology kind of stuff should be, like
I
just
agree.
boom, just see. You could put it back. It's not harming anything, but this whole landscape itself is like,
And this is
ridiculous.
in the USA, right?
This is in New Mexico.
New
It's like
Mexico.
so in this, I mean, that looks like two different spires of towers. Like that certain parts are smooth. Like there's just something about it.
And that
And
wall, I mean, it's got that kind of Star City look, right? With a big kind of citadel and then a wall going around.
yeah, it really does. And even in the distance, you see these other ones. And you know, what were those volcanoes too? Like, you know,
Oh wow, yeah, from
like,
that angle it looks very cathedral-y, doesn't it?
but it's like the way that they use the term volcano makes you be like for so many different things that all look different. You know, you
Yeah.
can't help but be like, you know, like what are volcanoes? Like what
But
is
I
a
mean,
volcano?
where's this magma system? You know, this is the thing, right? Volcanoes, they're supposed to be
Plug
fed
up.
because they're all tapped into the same magma system, right? Where is this magma system? We've got no proof of that. I
And
mean,
that almost looks
we know the
like,
Russians drilled down 8 miles, right? They didn't hit
yeah, that's
anything.
has anybody heard of anything further than that?
No, you can't go
That
further, and they hit an impenetrable barrier. And on the way down, they didn't go through a magma, you know, tunnel. So it's
everything's up for grabs. That's the
yeah.
thing. Everything is up for grabs. It's almost just like the
I,
whole everything needs to be trashed
I
or a
remember,
lot of it.
like when I worked out that deserts weren't natural. That was only about 5 years ago, and I'm sitting there looking at it. It's just like these aren't natural. Like there's no
Yeah,
desert that's
no way.
natural. They're all just complete made. They're just bomb sites.
And that was even, yeah, they are. That's what they look like. And that's even right before right before we got on the call, right before we got on the call today. I made my tea, my matcha tea, and so I like dumped I like took like a spoon, like a knife edge, and I put like a little bit of matcha because I don't need much, and I dropped it in the bottom of my cup, and I noticed that it had like striations like this coming out of it, and I was just like, God, you know, everything makes you ponder because the microcosm and macrocosm are so connected. And, you know, like, did someone just dump something on these from above and just crush it to dust? Or like, you know, or after, you know, maybe these things were on fire for a while and then they dumped something on top of it, or maybe like there was a battle here, or like, I don't know what any of this is, but
It's a mad landscape, isn't it?
it's a ridiculous lens. Like something like, you know what I mean? Something was dropped there or
Yeah,
something. Like
something
the
big
fact that they say
gone.
lightning too makes me
Almost looks like
wonder
it's a
about.
big water bomb, you know, because it looks like it's just kind of pushed everything up to the sides. But
Yeah, you're right.
that's the other hard thing with Google Earth is it's very hard to sometimes to see if you're looking at like a depression or an elevation. You know, the
Yep,
mountains look the same as the valleys.
you're right. Yeah, you can't. It's tough to tell that dimension on them, but some people have been there. The drones were pretty cool of the drone footage that these guys
That's
had.
ridiculous. I've never heard or seen of that.
Yeah, I know this one. It's like the equivalent of that other one almost, the Devil's Tower and stuff. Not. It's like it seems like a new one. And had some other Google Earth pictures
There
of it.
is
I
a
don't know what
star. Have you seen the star fort in New Mexico?
in which one? New
In
Mexico?
New Mexico?
I think I did. I feel like I did. I forget where it is and
I
how
think
close. How
I
close.
think John Levi might have shown it a year ago or so. It's just out in the middle of nowhere in the desert, but of course, you know, there's a military base right next to it, but there's
Oh,
nothing else out there, right? Nothing.
and that's again one of those things, you know, even like that movie Spies Like Us, like when they go in that military base in the middle of nowhere and they go
Yeah,
down.
they go
And,
down.
you
Yeah.
know, how many times did they do that? That's also again why they probably love the globe baloney, because, you know, no one would ever suspect us to have underground layers of anything or whatever they do.
Yeah.
And even look at this on the, I don't have the it's not on Google Earth, but you can see over here, like, you know, this looks like a collapse of something over in this spot. And there was a few different spots that looked like that and had like sharp angles and different like things that, you know, something massive is buried there. I don't know what it is, but there's something. And just the old stories of the griffins, the birds, and the lightning. There was even something of this in the same reading about that. And the river, it's and like the northern islands is where they say like the griffins were and whatnot. And it's like, huh?
The Northern Islands, really?
Yeah. This is an interesting book, this medieval geometry one. Or geography. I'm gonna put it out in I'll make a video of it at one point, and
Yeah.
I'll pop it out there. I'll stop the share though now. I can't find my other ones.
Northern Island. I mean, that's oh gosh.
But
I mean, and we've all got the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? You
Oh
know,
yeah.
fire and brimstone, and Sodom and Gomorrah. You look at them today, and they look like what we just looked at. They look like these destroyed, melted, cities. So,
Oof.
I mean, it would be, very unlikely that that would happen, but only to one place, in the realm, right? If that
Yeah.
was a weapon and they were doing it, then we'd get the same. And that's what we
Everywhere.
see, these deserts everywhere and these destroyed. I mean, look at Africa, right? We've
Mm-hmm.
all seen the
So
old maps, and there's nothing there anymore.
wow.
Just 10,000 years ago, they reckon, but in the maps, it's like 400 years ago, it was green.
Oh God. And again, and that's tough to eradicate all the stuff like from that time ago, like where the pictures, there was probably cities all over that place, like under
Mm,
the, how did the airships, I think, had something to do with that sand, or it could have been flooding and things like that too, but like I could see fleets of airships dumping stuff, or I don't know. It's just so many, like, imaginations is one of the few kind of areas that we have that we need to utilize, and then have the facts back it up, or the
mm.
archaeology back it up in due time, or the
Yeah.
Tartarians come down and tell us Tartaria.
We all want to live a healthier, more natural life. And after the last few years, many of us are a little wary of doctors and their wares. So, in my opinion, it's a good idea to learn how to grow your own. That's right, grow your own medicinal plants. But how do you do that? Well, you do it with the complete natural pharmacy for your backyard. Now, this garden medicinal kit actually comes with the seeds you'll need. It comes with the seeds of 10 easy to grow plants that you can grow in your garden. And then it also shows you how to turn these plants into salves, tinctures, teas, etc., that you can use to heal yourself and your family naturally. There's yarrow, the backyard wound healer. Marshmallow, which is great for any digestive issues you might be having. Evening primrose, a natural remedy for skin and nerves. And echinacea, which is the most powerful immunity plant, and everyone should be growing it, and much more. So click the link below in the description and find out some more information of how you can start to grow your own medicinal herbs and start to take charge of your own and your family's health. Click the link below and start to heal yourself naturally.
Time to go.